The Whispering Sentinel. In the heart of the whispering woods, where ancient oaks intertwined with youthful birches and a carpet of emerald moss softened every step, stood Eldrin. To the casual observer, Eldrin was just another magnificent oak, perhaps a little broader in the trunk, a little denser in his canopy, but otherwise unremarkable. Children would climb his sturdy limbs, lovers would carve initials into his bark, much to his silent chagrin, and weary travelers would rest in his dappled shade. No one, not a single soul, suspected the vibrant, articulate consciousness that resided within Eldrin's gnarled form. Eldrin was old. Older than the oldest legends whispered around village fires. He had seen empires rise and fall, witnessed the slow creep of glaciers and their even slower retreat. He had heard the first songs of birds and the first hesitant words of humanity, and through it all, he had listened. He listened to the wind as it carried secrets from distant mountains, to the rustle of leaves as they gossiped about the coming autumn, and to the frantic scurry of small creatures as they lived out their fleeting lives. His secret, of course, was his voice, not a voice of rustling leaves or creaking branches, but a true, resonant voice, capable of complex thought, wit, and even a touch of melancholy. He communicated with the forest itself, the roots beneath the earth forming a vast, intricate network of information exchange, the fungal mycelium acting as a sort of arboreal internet. He knew when a deer was ailing in a hidden glade, when a distant stream was about to overflow its banks, or when a particularly juicy patch of berries was ripening on the other side of the woods. Eldrin's days were a symphony of observation. He watched the seasons turn, a majestic, slow dance he never tired of. He felt the subtle shift in air pressure that heralded a storm, the gentle warmth of the sun as it nurtured new life, and the biting chill of winter that brought a hush to the forest. He knew every squirrel by its chattering personality, every bird by its unique melody. He was the quiet chronicler of the Whispering Woods, a living library of its past, present, and even its potential future. His greatest joy, however, came from the human children who visited him. He loved their innocent curiosity, their unburdened laughter. He would subtly guide a lost toy into their path with a well-timed gust of wind, or drop a particularly colorful leaf just as they were looking for something magical. He longed, with an ache that was as old as his roots, to speak to them, to share his wisdom, to tell them stories of times long past. But the ancient law of the talking trees was absolute. Never reveal yourself to humans. It was a law born of bitter experience, of past ages when humans had sought to exploit and control, to dissect and destroy that which they could not understand. One sweltering summer afternoon, a young girl named Ilara stumbled into Eldrin's shade. She was unlike the other children. Her eyes, the color of moss after a spring rain, held a deep, quiet wonder. She didn't climb him. Instead, she sat at his base, a worn book clutched in her hands, her brow furrowed in concentration. She read aloud, her voice soft and melodious, stories of ancient heroes and mythical beasts. Eldrin found himself captivated. He had heard countless human stories, but never with such heartfelt conviction. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long purple shadows, Ilara sighed, closing her book. "Oh, Eldrin, I wish you could talk. You've seen so much, haven't you? What secrets do you hold?" A tremor ran through Eldrin's ancient trunk. He wanted to answer, to tell her about the time a king had hidden his crown in his hollow, or the way the stars looked before the invention of fire. But he held back, remembering the law. Days turned into weeks, and Ilara became a regular visitor. She would bring him small offerings, a smooth river stone, a bright feather, a tiny wild flower, placing them carefully at his base. She would confide in her worries, her dreams, her small triumphs. Eldrin found himself growing fonder of her with each passing day. He yearned to help her, to guide her through her childish dilemmas, to share the vast tapestry of his knowledge. One day, a fierce storm descended upon the Whispering Woods. The wind howled like a hungry wolf, and rain lashed down in blinding sheets. Ilara, caught unawares, sought shelter under Eldrin's mighty canopy. A branch, weakened by lightning years ago, groaned ominously above her. Eldrin felt a surge of fear, not for himself, but for Ilara. He had to act. Breaking the ancient law was a terrifying prospect, but watching Ilara come to harm was unthinkable. With a monumental effort, he channeled his energy, sending a subtle, pulsing vibration through the earth. The ground around the weakened branch softened ever so slightly, causing it to fall, not on Ilara, but a few feet away, with a dull thud. Ilara gasped, her eyes wide with shock. She looked at the fallen branch, then up at Eldrin, a dawning realization in her gaze. You did that, didn't you? She whispered, her voice trembling. Eldrin knew this was his moment. He focused all his will, and a voice, deep and resonant like the earth itself, but surprisingly gentle, rumbled from his trunk. Yes, little one, I did. Ilara stared, not with fear, but with a profound awe. You can talk. I can, Eldrin replied, a strange mix of exhilaration and trepidation filling him. And I have watched over you, Ilara, for many seasons. From that day forward, Ilara's visits became a shared secret. Eldrin would tell her stories of the woods, of the creatures that lived within, of the ancient magic that still hummed beneath the earth. He taught her to read the language of the wind, to understand the murmurs of the stream, to know the names of forgotten stars. Ilara, in turn, shared her world with him, her lessons from school, her dreams of exploring distant lands, the simple joys of her childhood. Their bond grew, a bridge between two worlds. Eldrin, the ancient sentinel, found a new purpose in sharing his wisdom, in guiding a young mind. And Ilara, the curious child, discovered a friend unlike any other, a living, breathing testament to the magic that existed just beyond the veil of everyday perception. The secret life of the talking tree was no longer entirely secret, and in that shared revelation, both tree and girl found a profound and lasting connection. The Whispering Woods, unknowingly, had gained not just a guardian, but a storyteller and a very eager student.